Within moments of Supreme Court's decision, George Will, the Pulitzer Prize-winning conservative columnist who has shaped Republican thinking for generations, appeared on national television and declared that Donald Trump's legal strategy had completely and permanently fallen apart. Watching the final pillar of a former president's defense crumble in real time is extraordinary. The nation's highest court, including 3 justices appointed by Trump himself, has delivered its verdict, and it was a unanimous rejection. With that ruling, Trump's legal team is left with no viable path forward. This is no longer just about one legal dispute. The ruling cuts to the heart of presidential accountability, the strength of the Constitution, and the very definition of the rule of law in America. Its consequences are likely to reverberate through U.S. politics for decades. Here's how events have unfolded. Late last week, Trump's attorney submitted an emergency request to the Supreme Court, asking the justices to halt proceedings in his federal election interference case while they considered a sweeping claim of presidential immunity. Legal experts widely agreed this was Trump's final realistic attempt to delay the trial until after the November election. His lawyers argued that a former president cannot be criminally prosecuted for actions taken while in office, a claim so broad it would effectively place presidents above the law. But according to Politico's January 7th reporting, the Supreme Court rejected the application outright, without a single dissent. Not one of the 9 justices, including Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, or Amy Coney Barrett, found Trump's request worthy of further consideration. It was a complete and total defeat. So why does George Will's reaction matter so much? George Will served as the intellectual backbone of American conservatism for decades, even before Ronald Reagan's presidency. He won the Pulitzer Prize for commentary in 1977, was a founding panelist on ABC's This Week, and has influenced political debate across multiple generations. He has written speeches for Republican presidents and advised countless conservative leaders. This is not a liberal voice celebrating Trump's troubles. This is someone who helped build and defend the conservative movement itself. When George Will speaks, the traditional Republican establishment, the pre-Trump conservative class, pays attention. And what he said on Fox News within an hour of the ruling should deeply unsettle Trump's defenders. The blow to Trump was even more severe than it initially appeared. According to CBS News reporting, the court's denial included language that directly undercut Trump's core argument. The unsigned order stated that Trump failed to show he was likely to succeed on the merits of his immunity claim. In plain terms, the justices signaled that the argument that a president cannot be prosecuted simply does not hold water. They effectively indicated that even if the issue returned to them on full appeal, the outcome would not change. CNN legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin called the decision the most definitive rejection of presidential immunity claims in U.S. history. The response was swift and explosive. George Will appeared on Fox News and delivered what amounted to both a legal and moral obituary for Trump's defense strategy. He stated, "What we witness today is a complete evaporation of a legal fantasy. The idea that a president who lost an election could attempt to retain power through extra-constitutional means and then claim immunity was always constitutionally absurd. Now it is legally dead." Coming from a man who has defended Republican presidents through scandal for half a century, those words carry extraordinary weight. Timing makes the ruling even more devastating. Trump's entire 2024 strategy depended on delaying his trials until after the election, reclaiming the presidency, and making the prosecutions disappear. According to a January 6 Washington Post analysis, Trump's legal team privately believed they could push the federal trial past November through procedural tactics and appeals. The Supreme Court's denial completely destroyed that plan. Judge Tanya Chutkan is now free to move forward, and legal experts agree there is nothing left Trump can use to stop her. This fits a familiar pattern. Trump demands absolute loyalty from institutions, only to discover that the Constitution does not bend to personal allegiance. Consider the Department of Justice under Attorney General William Barr. Barr came out of retirement to serve Trump, framed the Mueller report favorably, and intervened in cases involving Trump allies. Yet, when Barr investigated election fraud claims and found them baseless, he said so publicly. According to ABC News' Jonathan Karl, Trump erupted in rage, accusing Barr of betrayal. Barr resigned soon after. The offense wasn't disloyalty, it was honesty. The Supreme Court followed a similar path. During the 2020 election challenges, Trump-backed lawsuits were rejected more than 60 times. Despite appointing 3 justices, Trump lost repeatedly, often unanimously. Loyalty did not override legal merit. Then there was Mike Pence. Pence stood by Trump through nearly every controversy. But on January 6th, when Trump demanded Pence overturn the election, Pence refused because the Constitution gave him no such authority. For that act, Trump turned on him. A violent mob chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," while Trump watched. Years of loyalty meant nothing once Pence chose the Constitution. Even Senate Republicans reached a breaking point. After acquitting Trump following January 6, Mitch McConnell declared Trump practically and morally responsible for the Capitol attack. Years of accommodation ended when constitutional boundaries were crossed. So, how did Trump arrive at this moment? According to Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment, Trump pursued a multi-part effort to overturn the 2020 election, pressuring state officials, organizing fake electors, pushing the DOJ to declare fraud, and coercing Pence, all while knowing his fraud claims were false. Initially, Trump's legal strategy of delay seemed effective. His lawyers flooded the courts with motions and appeals. But judges weren't persuaded. Judge Chutkan repeatedly rejected the arguments, often sharply. The D.C. Circuit went further, issuing a sweeping opinion stating that accepting Trump's immunity theory would give presidents a lifelong free pass for crimes. Trump's team expected the Supreme Court to at least pause proceedings. Instead, the court issued an immediate, unanimous rejection, signaling the argument was so weak it didn't merit extended review. That left Trump's lawyers trapped. They must publicly appease Trump's base while privately defending him in courts that demand real legal substance. Trump's strongest defense, immunity, is now gone. Any realistic legal strategy would require remorse or cooperation, actions Trump is incapable of taking. The result is chaos for his lawyers, for his party, and for the country. Republicans now face internal fractures. If even Trump-appointed justices rejected his claims, how can GOP officials continue defending him? Democrats, meanwhile, have gained a devastating talking point. The Supreme Court, including Trump's own nominees, rejected him unanimously. Some Trump supporters have responded by attacking the court itself. Calls to impeach Trump-appointed justices have surfaced. This rhetoric is dangerous. As George Will warned, this moment is a stress test for American constitutional democracy. Judge Chutkan has now made clear all appellate avenues are exhausted. The time for delay is over, she wrote, criticizing Trump's tactics as harmful to the judicial process. Legal experts note that even Nixon never faced criminal charges. Now Trump may. The implications extend far beyond one man. The ruling affirms a core principle. No one, not even a president, is above the law. Had Trump succeeded, future presidents could commit crimes without fear of prosecution. The courts have now closed that door. Looking ahead to 2024, the impact is immediate. Trump could be on trial during the primaries. Courtroom proceedings may dominate headlines, draining campaign momentum. Democrats are preparing to weaponize the ruling politically. Public trust is also at stake. While the ruling reinforces the court's independence, Trump's attacks risk undermining faith in the last branch of government that still commands broad legitimacy. The message from the judiciary is unmistakable. Presidential power has limits, and those limits matter. The Supreme Court has spoken. Trump's final delay strategy has collapsed. George was pronounced the legal defense dead. The evidence is headed to a jury. What happens next will shape not only Trump's future, but the future of presidential accountability in America. The trial is coming. The stakes could not be higher.